Welcome to Bike World. This is the 2025 Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus. But is the Plus worth the price? Let's find out in the Slovenian Alps. Welcome to Bike World, welcome to Slovenia. We have just left the hotel in Bled, just up from the capital of Ljubljana, and I'm sat on the 2025 Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus. Got a real treat today. Yamaha have planned 320 kilometers of winding mountain roads over 3 countries, Italy, Austria and back into Slovenia. Bit of motorway miles and plenty of twisties just to see what the Grand Tourer, the GT Plus, is all about. I'm currently in the YAMT mode, so that is Yamaha automatic manual transmission, so I don't have a clutch lever, loads of space here, don't have a gear lever down there, and I'm in D, so that's standard drive mode. I can also flick it into D Plus, which just holds the rev range a little bit longer and gives it a bit kind of a sportier feel, and it also tells the EMU, the intelligent system inside the brain, that I'm up for a sporty ride but in a completely automatic mode. So I want it to get my gears right for me and down change nice and assertively. So quick rundown of the tech spec of this GT Plus. Now there's a fair bit standard, as you'd expect, over the entire Tracer range. So I'm sat on the ever so slightly tweaked CP3 engine. That's an 890cc triple, boasting 117 brake horsepower at 10,000 revs and 93 newton meters of torque at 7,000 revs. Yamaha haven't made any major modifications to this because they don't need to. It's a fantastic power plant, also seen in the R9, the MT R9. The TFT screen, it's 7 inches for the whole of the Tracer range, so standardise that look well. There's plenty of view modes to go through. Sportier hairpin territory now, so I'm just going to flick this into sport mode. So I press the automatic transition versus manual transition mode, and then I'm going to put it into sport. You have to be off the throttle to do this, and we're ready to go. Right, now I've unlocked the little buttons, so I can downshift and upshift on my thumb. Stay on the right side of the road, Lara. So now I've activated the buttons, I can downshift and upshift on my thumb. So it's kind of subtle, but you can see it here. So I'm pinching here and here. So I'm going down the gears with my thumb and up the gears with my forefinger. You can actually feel this quite nice clunk as it just goes down the gears. You know it's changing gear, which is quite useful. It's not like a true automatic, there's still a manual box in there. So across the 2025 fleet there's some revised changes across all the Tracers, so that really does sit in the styling. So they've both combined some time in a wind tunnel just to understand the flow over the front of the bike, because they had some feedback from the 2023 model. Standard across the Tracer models is the revised subframe, so they've made it lighter and longer and given a bit more space for the pillions to be more comfortable. What makes the Plus worth it? Because out of the 4 bikes in this range, so in the Tracer range you've got like the base model Tracer 9, then you've got the Tracer 9 GT, then you have the Tracer 9 GT with YAMT, and then you have the Tracer 9 GT Plus, which obviously has YAMT and Extra. What is this Extra? Well, the Extra is this radar active cruise control, both on the front of the bike and you'll see it on the rear of the bike, and it kind of brings a more active awareness system to you whilst you're riding. So whilst the GT, standard GT with Yamaha AMT is about £15,300, this will set you back £17,000, and what you're buying into is probably, I think, best described as this kind of awareness safety bubble around you and the bike. Okay, so it's an active system that is both going to manage this adaptive cruise control, so whilst you're on the motorway it's going to pick up speed, it's going to allow you to overtake really smoothly, and it's also going to kind of, well, in the army we like to say check your six. It's going to be looking behind you for those kind of any blind spot worries you might have, and then illuminate it in this mirror here. You then get the universal braking system, where it actively monitors how far you are from the vehicle in front, and then it doesn't brake for you, but should you be applying pressure on the front brake or the rear brake, if it thinks that you're not quite applying enough and you're likely to rear end the vehicle in front or get too close to them, it just applies a little bit more, and it's taking that grip and feedback to do it. It then also connects to the way in which the suspension responds, so with a priority being to make it as smooth as possible, so no matter what your riding conditions are, is actively providing more feedback through the suspension if I'm heavy braking on the front, or if I'm on the power, it's just giving it that grip and haunch and pull to keep it steady whilst I'm driving through some chicanes or climbing up a hairpin. And then combined with the other extra GT Plus options, so unique seats, a unique colourway, I think heated grips cover across both. It's really the electronics package that's making the difference on this bike. See if I can demonstrate, yeah, the radar sensor here. So it's just telling me there's just a bike in my blind spot, which, well, they're not in my blind spot, I can see in my mirror, but it's just telling me something's there, which is nice and clever. What I'll do now is just show you the integrated sat-nav solution. So with your phone, if you download the kind of Garmin app, if I hold this button down and accept the fact that there's a usual warning, sorry about the backward figure, sorry not sorry, I'm now can see the navigation of where we're going. So that's through the Garmin app, through a phone that's actually just here, so just inside this flappy panel here, and I've got a really nice integrated sat-nav solution. Mint. So I can see LED matrix headlights at the front, so there's a ensemble of headlights to look at the front of the Tracer. So the first two at the top are just standard like LEDs, but then you've got a suite of then layered matrix lights underneath that, which do all the adjustment for when you're cornering. So it will take off the main beam when you're behind a car, but then as you corner, accelerate or overtake, it then switches those side beams and then main beam back on, so it stops blinding the car in front, so you don't even have to think. It's quite a clever system that works with the angle of the bike as well, and it's a matrix so that it basically shuts off a little bit depending on what the object is in front, so you don't put any glare in their mirrors. And let's just get around here. We're now back in the hotel, having completed a grand tour on the Tracer 9 GT Plus, and Yamaha certainly didn't disappoint. We've covered 3 different countries, 320 kilometres, Italy, Slovenia, Austria, 1600 metres of elevation, some motorways, some tight hairpins, and everything in between, just to explore what a grand tour is all about. And specifically, I've got to experience what the plus factor is about in this bike and why you'd want to invest in the plus cost. The complicated bit is that the amount of tech on this bike is exhaustive, and I've been struggling a little bit to cover all of that to a succinct detail with you, so I'm going to cheat a little just so I don't miss anything, because all the different systems on it interplay with every other different system to make it a very clever, holistic, comprehensive package. So if you'll bear with me, I'll take you through step by step in detail so you know what's different about the Tracer 2025 model, and then what's different about the Plus package that's worth the extra £1,700. The power plant is the same. It's the CP3 890cc 117 brake horsepower triple, and is raved about. It's my first experience on this engine, and it is as good as people tell me it was. They've also added Yamaha ride control and just made the different modes of the bike a bit simpler. So we have street, we have sport, we have rain, and then 2 customizable rider modes. And there's a really neat table actually that shows you all the various options and adaptations you can make for how you want your bike to feel when you're riding it. They've also made the wheels lighter, so using their spin forged technology, you've got lighter weight 17-inch wheels complemented by bespoke Bridgestone T32 sports touring tyres, which I did test today across cobbled down hairpin sections, and as grippy as you like. Actually really happy with them. As with all the Tracer models, you also get the Bosch 4-caliper front pistons, and you get that in correlation with the inertia measurement unit. So 6-axis control really, so you get adjusted brake feel depending on the angle of the bike and what you're up to at the time. Again, that's standard across all the Tracer range. I can hear you behind the screen. Lara, tell me why I need to blow another £1,700 on the Plus in this GT model. And your £1,700 basically unlocks three main things that unlocks all the other systems of this motorbike. Firstly, it's a connectivity with the adaptive cruise control, then followed up by the way in which it syncs with the Yamaha automatic manual transmission system, and then syncs with the cabs system, so the KYB electronic suspension option. Okay, so it's those three things that work in conjunction together. Okay, that means that when you're on the motorway, you don't have to think about changing gear, and you don't have to think too much about how close you are to the car in front, or your speed, or your distances. You just set what you want on the limiter, knowing that the bike is looking behind to check there's nothing in your blind spot, and it's allowing you to get up to speed nice and naturally without even touching the throttle. It just makes motorway miles absolutely seamless. Oh, that's very clever. That is very clever. Right, so I've got the adaptive cruise control system on now. So this is an active radar, and I've set it to 130 kilometers an hour, obviously speed limit for this road. And obviously I've taken my hand off the throttle, so it's driving that. So what? It's got cruise control, but it's now actively monitoring what is in front of me, what is to the left of me, and what is behind me with those three kind of radar, well, two radar systems with that kind of side awareness. Now, what I want to show you is this passive overtaking maneuver. So as I approach this car in front, I can already feel that not the brakes are being applied, but the bike is using the engine braking. And now, if I want to overtake, which I'm obviously going to do by indicating through the turn signal, so the connection there, the bike changes ever so slightly, and it pulls away back up to my cruising speed. So I've done nothing with the throttle there, it's just brought me back up and let me overtake safely. And now as I pull back into the same lane, cancel my indicators, it's now picking up on my trusted friend Mussy, who's perhaps also exploring this control. Now, I've set the distance I want between the car in front, so I've set it nice and close, and there are 4 levels in which to do that. But that's the kind of the active system that you're investing in for this Plus model. Obviously, because I am on the motorway, let's just demonstrate again. So it's slowing down slightly because it's picking up the fact that I'm behind a vehicle. I indicate, and then it just builds up its speed again back to 30. So it's really neat and very seamless, and it's just purely an engine braking where it's decelerated, and then I'll just go back into this side of the road again. Absolutely spot on. And then, because it's automated, because of the YAMT, it's just picking up the gears for you. You just don't have to think about it. You know, you can do your grand tour and hurry up and get to the fun bits, okay? So it's made that really seamless. Then it builds on that with the adaptive suspension, because it does everything it can to make the ride for you and your pillion as smooth as possible. Then when it comes to enjoying the sportier side of things, you then get to unlock what I enjoyed the most out of this trip, as you'd expect, is the sporty bit. So I've used my 70% that Yamaha have tailored towards the touring side of this, and I want to embrace a 30% of the sportier ride. I totally forgot I was on a sports tourer. I forgot I unfortunately didn't have a pillion. I forgot I had panniers. The minute we got to some twisties, I was straight back into, great, I've got 17-inch rims, great, I've got adaptable sports touring tyres, I've got a lightweight, nimble bike, 232 kilograms, I've got a corker of a triple engine right in the middle of it, and I sent it screaming, okay? So this is right up to hauling it into hairpins, using the manual system, so just flicking between my forefinger and my thumb to change gears up and down, and just absolutely rinsing all of the rev range that this CP3 engine had to offer, and genuinely loving it, proper hammering it into first with some hairpins, drawing out as much power as I could on the way out of corners, and just having an absolute ball of a time. An absolute ball. And that's the best bit, is that I've been able to embrace the best bits, that sportier ride, all that fun. I've got to the fun, and it's given me all that brain power to just literally be on the balls of my feet, literally just have my front and rear fingers just to change the gears for me, and just embrace and be in the moment, be in the zone of riding the bike to the best of my ability and the best that the environment will let me, and to enjoy that scenery. Just sticks. Hey! Little lift on the front wheel just brings it around really nice. So you invest in the Plus model because you get this kind of lazy ease to get to where you want to go for as long as you want to, and then when you get there you can truly embrace the spirit of being on the road and ride it how you want to. And that's the spirit of what the Plus offers above the rest of the GT range. Disappointingly, I've just been overtaken by a man on a scooter. This changes everything. What is that? I'm kind of jealous. It looks like a lot of fun and it's pretty fast.